Before we get started, could you please raise your hand if you're a developer yourself? Awesome. Yannick, you're not a developer. OK. And have you ever worked with PWA Studio? Show your hand, please. All right, fair enough. All right, cool. Let's get started. This is me, Jordan. I work at a company, Experius, here in the Netherlands. I am mainly focusing on building PWAs on top of Magento with PWA Studio. And today I'm going to talk to you about basically what I've done the last 3 months and where we are today. But before we go there, let's go back. It's a funny video, I guess. Something I've made about 3 years ago. And I think this is one of the first headless examples I've tried. So I think if the clicker works. Awesome. So this is built on top of Angular with Magento 2, I think 2.0. And it was basically just an example to show you what we could do with this headless approach. And it was 3 years ago, and I was so excited when I made a video and I threw it in the WhatsApp group, and the only response I got was a thumbs up. And I'm like, really, guys, seriously, only a thumbs up? So my feelings were, I guess, hurt a little bit, but that's OK, right? So you can see it's extremely basic. And from that point on, time, literally went by. And somehow Magento Headless became the new buzzword. And I was like, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. And then PWA Studio was released. But I didn't bother looking at it for a really long time. Not sure why. I think I still got a bit butthurted because only one thumbs up. But early this year, we decided it's time for action. As a front-end developer myself, I always want to try to innovate and work with new techniques. And I really fell in love with JavaScript and really think that's a cool language. So we decided we need to do something with PWA. So we basically asked ourselves 3 questions. One is, where do we start? Do we build something ourselves, or are we going to use an existing system because there are a lot of systems out there? So basically what we did is we created demos of 3 of the most popular frameworks out there. And one of them you probably all know is Vue Storefront, which is really good and built on top of Vue.js. And then one is from Magento, it's PWA Studio, of course. And then you have Deity Falcon, which is built with React. And it's from a company here in the Netherlands. But we needed to choose between those 3. So the first one to go was Vue Storefront because for me, I felt more at home with React. So there were only 2 left, one of them being Studio and the other Falcon. And although Falcon is a really nice platform, we felt more at home with what they built at Magento. So eventually we chose for PWA Studio. Studio it is. So we had a game plan. We're going to search the docs like every good developer does. You're going to read the docs. Nope. We're going to figure out this fallback system because it's Magento. You can build teams on top of teams, and I really like that. And then we're going to create our own team. So let's start with searching the docs. So I went to, I believe it was PWA Studio.io. They changed it recently, I guess. Anyhow, the docs are really, really tiny, and you basically had no clue on where to start. From that point on, it really did improve. So right now, I should encourage you, if you're going to start with Studio, please check out the docs. They're really good. But for us, at that time, it didn't work out. We had no clue. We were in the dark. All right, so at least we're going to have, I was sure there was going to be a fallback system because it's still Magento. Right? No. There was no fallback system, and that has a lot to do with the next point, which is creating your own team. In PWA Studio, you don't have a team, you have a storefront. A team would imply that you are falling back onto something, onto a basis, which there is not. So creating our own team didn't work out. So we basically had 3 options. We can work directly inside the Venia storefront source, which is a bad idea because it's really hard to upgrade and integrate security patches and stuff like that. Or we can start from an empty folder, which for me was no option because I had no clue how to build a PWA, let alone work with React. So I was like, well, let's try to create our own fallback system. And so we did. And this is the concept, broken down in, like, as we call it in the Dutch, Jippie Janneke taal. At the core, we have Studio or Venya. And then on top of that, we're going to create our experience-based team. And then on top of that, you're going to have the customer's unicorn. And that's basically how you build websites in Magento right now. You have this, at least that's what I think, you have this base team where you're going to build your own team on top of. All right, so since it's a technical track, I'm going to show you guys some code to give you a better reference of what we've done. So this is the folder structure from an example project I've made. As you can see, the source folder has two folders in it. One is PWA Studio, and the other one is the example company, which could be your own company name or vendor name, whatever. And then if we go inside the Venya folder, you see there are a lot of files and everything we need to run the Venya concept team, or storefront, my bad. And then to the right, you see this example shop, which is mostly the same, but it has a lot less files in it. So to give you a reference, this is what Venya looks like in our current project that I just showed you. And this is our example shop. So the difference is that, can I go back? Yeah. So we have this orange header at the top, and then we have this custom footer, like the custom example shop. And that is the only differentiator between these two teams. And as you can tell, inside the example shop, there are a lot of components missing. We basically only have the footer, the main component, and the top bar, which is not enough to run a complete website. So why does this work? So inside the example shop, in the Webpack file, we've created this variable, this parent team, which we're using all over our code base. Wait, I'll keep it up there, guys, taking a picture. All right, cool. And then you have this is a line from the Venya folder, or the Venya Webpack file, which basically tries to require a file from its own directory. But since we don't have that in our own team, we are going to use the parent team variable to require it from the parent team. So we can delete everything that we don't need and then replace it with this variable. Another example is that the root components folder, which basically holds all your root components, we don't want to override them because we just changed the top bar and the footer. So here you can see inside the example shop, we've actually added another string or another resolve to the array of root components, basically telling also try to get the root components from the parent team. And this is basically where the magic comes in. This is let me go back one. This is the default Venya resolver, which has most of its functionality inside the Magento resolver config, which basically looks like this if you extract it from it. But it doesn't have the aliases inside. So I've added some aliases for parent source, parent components, and parent queries. And these aliases, we're going to use this inside all our components to make sure the fallback system keeps working. To give you a good example is, here we've copied the footer from Venya, and we basically removed the tests and the CSS because I was like, we don't need them. Like, who needs tests? I don't. Actually, everybody, don't delete tests. Really, you should write them, but for demonstration purposes, I deleted them because it was a pain in the ass. So basically, if you would run this without having the fallback system, it would not work because inside, inside Venya, it's going to import this file, this CSS file, but it's importing from the root folder or from its own folder. So since we didn't copy it, it's not going to be in there. So what we did inside the example shop, we're basically saying, use this alias and fetch it from the parent team, and therefore it works. And this is the Webpack alias that is doing that right now. So that's really cool. And then we have this, this main component, which is also basically a complete copy. I've removed some code just to get all of the lines in one screen. But as you can see, the footer is coming from our own folder, and then the header is coming from the parent components, because we didn't want to copy it to our own folder, because then we wouldn't know if we've changed anything in it and how we should upgrade it if a newer version comes out. And then the top bar is coming from our own source folder, because we've customly created that. That's the orange one I've shown you. And the footer, I already had the footer. The main file itself also had a CSS file for styling purposes. But we were fine with the way it looked. So then again, we're saying, OK, instead of getting this from the current folder, try to get it from the parent components folder. And here's the index.js file. And a lot of the tools and utilities are fine, and we don't need to change them, so we're not going to do that. We are going to say, once again, get everything from the parent folder. That's basically how we build our fallback system. It's not that hard. So to give you guys some examples, I think this works. So this was Venia, is it? Yeah. So this is basically in Venia at the time of this recording, and you can see it has some basic functionalities in it, and you have this search, some site drawers. I hope I show them. Yeah. So keep those in mind. And we have this menu with the sign in and the create account and all that stuff. Cool. And I've created a demo just for purposes. This is built on top of Venia, and you're going to see a lot of things that are the same. For example, the site drawers. So, yeah. So it's basically a simple click through. We have this product slider. And this is the same search. We didn't change the technique, just the styling. So we only copied the CSS files. And you can see the product page is still the same. The drawers are still working the same way, but we've changed the styling because we probably like this better. So I created a little tool. It's called Fallback Studio, and I find the name really funny. Not sure why. It's free. You can use it. It is not the best solution, but it's a solution if you want to get started and you have no clue on where you should start and what you should do. So really check it out. Let me know what you think of it. And as a final note, who saw the tweet on the partner summit with the hate-love relationship? Just a few. Okay, so that was me, and that was true, and it was from the heart. I really was in a hate-love relationship with Magento frontend, especially Knockout. And so when I figured out how to work with Studio, it really gave me so much energy, and I was really excited about it. And that's what I want for everybody that's in their career and doesn't know how to start this and where they should start. Just start. Just start hacking away at the code base. It doesn't make sense at first, but after a while, you're like, oh, this is so much easier than default Magento. So yeah, I just want to implore you guys to get started and have a lot of fun of it. Do you guys have any questions? 0 questions? All right, thank you.